Are you running out of floor space in your garden? Well, Sophie's been hanging out to show us her latest project. And I know it's one you'll want to have a go at this weekend.
They go in and out of fashion, but I've always loved hanging baskets. Today, I'm at one of my local nurseries to look at a few combinations. Growing a hanging garden is a great way of literally taking your plants to another level so that you've got greenery and colour at your eye line. But hanging mid-air can make for challenging conditions, including being prone to drying out quickly. So I'm going to give you all the tips you need to keep hanging baskets happy and plant 2 different styles of hanging basket to give you some inspiration. First, let's talk about the material of your basket. There are 2 main factors that come into play with hanging pots. The first is the availability of water and the second is weight. I'm going to plant shade lovers into this 30cm plastic pot. It's self-watering, lightweight and just large enough to fit multiple plants. I'm also going to plant this classic coir basket with sun lovers. A lot of people would have old baskets like this at home. So later, I'm going to show some easy ways to give them new life. When choosing plants for hanging baskets, think about what your watering regime is going to be. Are you really going to remember to water it every day? If not, colourful annuals are probably not for you unless you choose a self-watering pot. It'll be less work if you choose plants that will bounce back after drying out and are well suited to the level of sun they're going to get. For the shady basket, I've chosen Plectranthus Mona Lavender, a Campanula, Bacopa and Lamium. And for the sun lover basket, I've chosen a couple of Geraniums, Lotus australis, Karbala or Disphyma, Variegated society garlic and Dichondra silver falls. Of course, you could choose just one plant, but if you want more colour and interest, combine multiple plants. They're going to grow up and hang over the edge to create a floating garden. I'm using Plectranthus Mona Lavender for height and Bacopa, Lamium and Campanula to spill over the edges and hide the plastic pot. I'm using a premium potting media as it will already be complete with wetting agent and slow release fertiliser. With the shady pot complete, it's time to prepare the next basket for the sun lovers. Coir baskets have their pros and cons. From an aesthetic point of view, they look better than plastic and they blend beautifully into the garden. However, birds love to collect the fibres to make their nests. They also dry out really quickly. So here, I've lined the basket with some plastic. It's simply the bag that had the potting media in it, and I'm going to cut some holes in the bottom to make sure I've got good drainage. I'm going to do about 10 like that. Because I'm planting sun lovers in this pot and it's not a self-watering pot, I'm going to improve the water holding capacity of the soil by adding coir peat. I've added about 1 part coir to 2 parts potting media, and that will just help to retain extra moisture in the soil. This bushy geranium is Geranium Oso Orange, and it will give the pot height and a splash of bold colour. I'm adding Variegated society garlic, which has edible leaves and a bit of vertical accent to its foliage and slender spikes of flowers. Around the edge, I'm adding 4 ground covers. Lotus australis with its incredible bright orange-red flowers, Dichondra silver falls, a white ivy leaf geranium and Karbala, an edible Australian native succulent. Because I've got a lot of plants in these hanging baskets and they're going to get watered often, nutrients are either used up or quickly flushed out and need to be replaced. So be sure to feed them regularly with liquid fertiliser. Pots this big can get quite heavy, particularly when they're wet, so make sure the structure from which they're hanging can support their weight. Also, with pots that are sun lovers like this, Make sure that they sit out from under the eaves. You can use a bracket so that they sit proud. That way, not only will they get enough sun to be happy, but they'll also take advantage of any rains that come. Now these 2 pots are coming home with me to my place, where the ground covers are going to spill over the edge and make them look gorgeous. If you've squeezed multiple plants into a pot like I have, make sure you keep it under control with some pruning and division, as well as rotate it every few weeks to get even growth.